What's goody? It's your host Jay Rose as always, and we back with my top 10 position rankings. And you know we got to get into the snipers, the swingmen, even though most of them ain't swingmen anymore, the scorers, the shooting guard position. Let's get into it. Over 90% of the people that watch my content are not subscribed, so if you're messing with the videos, please hit that sub button and the noti bell so you'll get notified every time I upload. But let's get back to the hoops. At my number 10 spot, I have Jaylen Green, and honestly, I was thinking about putting Jaylen Green higher, but I'd be lying to myself if I did that. Jaylen Green had an excellent final month of the season, but before then, he was kind of mediocre, and his percentages are really bad. Jaylen Green is shooting around like 42% from the field and like 33% from three. That is not good splits at all. Like I said, he had an excellent end to the season. He was up around 30 points a game for around a month, and his splits went up. So I think Jaylen Green, if he can continue to have that kind of production, will absolutely rise and have a great season next year. I think he has the potential, and I always thought he did have the potential to be a great scorer in the league and be a very electrifying player. But right now he's kind of teetering on that line. I think he's good, and obviously he is getting the opportunity, he is getting the shot, so I'd love for his efficiency to go up. If last month of the season Jaylen Green can continue into next season, he'll definitely be higher on this list by the end of next year, but for right now, I'm going to leave him here at 10. At number 9, I have Anthony Simons. I feel like, in my opinion, is kind of that Tyrese Maxey type of player. I don't think he's on Maxey's level right now, obviously averaging 22.6 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, and 5.5 assists, but their numbers are not that far off. He's obviously lower in every stat, but he's not super far off. I think Simons is also a great scorer. I expected a bit more of a jump from him after Damian Lillard left, and we didn't really see that. He took a slight jump, and he also missed a lot of the season. His percentages were not the greatest this year either. So I think Anthony Simons at 9 is very fair. Hopefully next year he can show some more promise on the Blazers or potentially move to another team, because I don't think that if he's not putting up big numbers on the Blazers that he should stay on that team, to be honest. But yeah, we got Anthony Simons at number 9. At number 8, we have Coby White, and I know a lot of people were not expecting this. Nobody's really paying attention to the Chicago Bulls, but Coby White this season was like a one bright spot in a season full of lulls for the Chicago Bulls. I feel like they really were desperately looking for somebody to take over and have some good games, have some good scoring nights, and they heavily relied on Coby White to do that with Zach LaVine being out. I give Coby White a lot of credit. His shooting splits were very good this season, which I can't say about a lot of these players. 44% from the field goal range, 37% from three. Obviously it could be better, but this is a huge jump compared to where he was last year. 9.7 points last year to 19.1 points this year. He was second in most improved player voting. I just think Coby White had an amazing year, and I'm very excited to see what he does next year when I feel like the keys will be fully handed to him. At number 7, we have Derek White, and I kind of struggled to rank Derek White because of the Celtics and how their roster is constructed. In hindsight, I do want to go back on my point guards video and put Drew Holiday somewhere in there, probably at the 10th spot, because the point guard position is a lot more stacked than the two guards. I definitely feel like it's harder to rank these guys because of how good their team is. I'm not sure, like, Derek White's role in this team is a 4th, 5th option, but he's giving you 15 points per game, 4 assists, or 4 rebounds and 5 assists. He made second team all defense, and for 2 rounds of the playoffs, he was probably the Celtics' best player, and he played a key role in them winning a championship this year. His value is, you can't switch it out for anything. I think every team would love a Derek White type player, and the fact that he gives you such great 3-point shooting and such great defense and can fit in whatever role you put him into, I think that makes him like a super hot commodity in the NBA. And I am so surprised that he ended up re-signing with the Celtics, because I feel like he would have got a crazy payday. He's still making a pretty penny though. But Derek White at number 7, I don't think that's too bad. I feel like because of the fact that he benefits so much from his team, I don't want to put him higher than 7, but he is a crazy good player, and his impact on that team it can't be put into numbers for real. At number 6, I have Desmond Bane. He definitely was a great player this season. 23.7 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and I feel like Desmond Bane sliding into being a pseudo number 1 option while Ja was out. I feel like his numbers look really good. His efficiency was also really good, for around 46% from the field, 38% from three. He has shot better, with Ja on the floor, but I think him having the looks and having the touches of being the number one option for a little bit, because he honestly missed a lot of time, and that's my main gripe with Desmond Bane. He only played like half the season. I think that can be justified though, because y'all aren't competing for anything. Might as well not push your star to the brink, you know what I'm saying, when it was clear that the Grizzlies were not very good and they were already going through their injuries. So I can understand that, but looking at how Desmond Bane played, I think he adjusted very well to his pseudo number one role, and I think next year when Ja comes back, this will be a team that will be very, very hard to beat. You add Ja Morant to the equation, and now he's getting a lot more open looks. He's going to be able to take a lot of comfortable shots, and I think Desmond Bane will be a very, very good player and a problem next season when the Grizzlies come back and end up being good again. And you saw that last year when Ja came back for those couple of games, they looked really, really good. So I think Desmond Bane's going to be a huge part of that. I like how he played this season. I just wish he played a little bit more so we could get a bigger sample size. But Desmond Bane at number 6. At number 5, I have my guy, Kyrie Irving. And honestly, I would love to have put Kyrie higher on this list, but I feel like this year he definitely underachieved. Not as a team, from a team perspective, obviously we made the finals, but I think Kyrie left a lot on the table, left a lot to be desired. Obviously, I'm not going to dunk on him. He still averaged 25 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists on almost 50, 40, 90 on the year. But in the playoffs, I feel like Kyrie left a lot to be desired, especially in the finals. I think the second round against the OKC Thunder, Kyrie just wasn't on the gas enough. I think he wasn't playing aggressive enough. And then obviously in the Timberwolves series, he looked immaculate. That was the greatest I've seen Kyrie play in a long, long time. And then we go into the finals, and it's like, damn, we getting 16, 12 points. It's like we can't be having those from our player that's supposed to be our leading or second leading scorer every single night. The player that was averaging 50, 40, 90 in the regular season, he definitely dropped off. He's around 26 points per game in the regular season and went down to 22 in the playoffs. So I just feel like Kyrie did not have the impact he could have had to his fullest extent, and that's why I'm going to have him down here at 5. Like I said, great regular season, had a lot of clutch moments, a lot of great moments. His numbers look really, really good, and I think if he played enough games, he would have made an all-star, all-NBA team, things like that. But it's just bad to see how he kind of dropped off in the playoffs. Like, he wasn't very consistent, and that's what I'm searching for from Kyrie. I want Kyrie to be Kyrie on a consistent basis. We just didn't get that this playoffs run. Yeah, and I feel like if he would have played better in the finals, that it would have been a lot more competitive series. At number 4, I have Jaylen Brown, who was averaging 23 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, and 3.6 assists per game. Finals MVP, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and an All-Star this year. He was the most valuable player on the Celtics for the last 2 series, the conference finals and the finals, and he got the awards for that. So that's not a crazy thing to say. His defense was absolutely immaculate this year. Like I said, being on the Celtics makes it a lot easier to play defense because 1 through 5 of those guys are playing great defense. But even when he was getting on the island isos with Kyrie, I saw him playing lockdown defense. He's playing good defense on Donovan Mitchell at points. So I just think Jaylen Brown this year, he proved a lot of people wrong, because with the accolades he has now, how can you say he's not worth the contract? He went out there, he outplayed everybody on his team. He looked like the leader on the team. Not only on the court, but also the vocal leader. He took the assignment of guarding Luka and Kyrie, and he did a really, really good job. And I think Jaylen Brown absolutely deserves to be at this number 4 spot. I don't think as an individual talent that he's better than any of the guys I have ahead of him, but the way that he played last season and the way he stepped up, the accolades he got, and the fact that they just won a championship in large part to Jaylen Brown's contribution, I think he definitely deserves to be in this top 5. So we'll have Jaylen Brown at number 4. I think that's a safe pick. At number 3, we have Devin Booker, and this is a guy who I was very disappointed in the playoffs. 27 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, and 6.9 assists in the regular season. He made All-NBA third team. And in the playoffs, I feel like he just kind of dropped off. I expected Devin Booker to be more consistent and really bring it to Anthony Edwards. I feel like they're not far off in terms of skill, and I think he might even be better than Ant, but Ant just had the fire, and he just went at D-Book, and D-Book didn't have nothing for him. And I feel like when that's the case, D-Book starts to shut down. You saw that with Luka, you saw that this year with Ant. So I just really do think that Devin Booker could have played better in the playoffs, and there's no doubt about that. I've seen him go on crazy hot streaks. Like last year in the playoffs was a completely different player. You could not stop D-Book last year in the playoffs, and I was really high on him coming into this season. We got flashes of it but I didn't get it to the full extent that I wanted to see Devin Booker take that next step to really be a superstar. I feel like obviously he's one of the best players in the league. He made All NBA third team. He was an All-Star player this year. I just don't think he played to his full extent either. He was in the pseudo point guard role this year, which I think was he played good when they gave him the point guard minutes, but I do think it's very important for them to get a point guard, and I think they did. I think they got Monte Morris, which is really good. He should be a 2-guard. He should be playing the 2-guard. I think he's gonna be a lot better as a secondary ball handler and a secondary playmaker than he is completely trying to run your offense. Had a great season, but in the playoffs, that series with the Timberwolves was just abysmal, and the way Anthony Edwards picked him apart was very bad. It was very bad. At number 2, I know a lot of people are going to be mad at my number 2 pick, but I do not care. It's my video. At number 2, we got Anthony Edwards, and listen, Anthony Edwards had an awesome season. 25.9 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, and 5.1 assists per game. And honestly, I feel like this I don't think this is his breakout season. I think there's another level that Ant can go to, but the numbers that he put up this year, absolutely immaculate. Went into the playoffs, obviously upped his play, bounced the Suns out of the playoffs, bounced the Nuggets out of the playoffs, but that series against Dallas, I can't excuse that. Honestly, the Dallas scheme was definitely predicated to making sure that Anthony Edwards had a tough time to score, but he had a really tough time to score, and he was getting tired and he was getting bothered 100%. So in that series, we saw some cracks in the game. I think that's more of a problem that the Timberwolves have to solve than an Anthony Edwards problem that he has to solve, because there's only so much one player can do in a series, and when the defense is collapsing on you like that, you're gonna need some help. There's only a few guys in the NBA where when the defense is collapsing on them in that fashion that they can still get things done. And Ant is going to be one of those guys 100%. I think the fact that he got a defense played on him like that will absolutely make him a better player. But yeah, I feel like that last series definitely was the difference maker between me putting him 1 or 2. Because win or lose, if he plays up to his standard in that series, I let it rock. But they definitely got under his skin, made him look tired. They took it to him, and all the quotables from that series were just really bad from him. From when they beat the Nuggets and he called out Kyrie, to when they were down 3-1 and he was like, "This is a great spot." It just wasn't. It wasn't the same Ant Edwards, but when he wasn't winning and he wasn't putting up the big numbers, definitely a drop off from where he was in the other 2 series, because he was Superman in those other 2 series. Had everyone calling him Michael Jordan for a very long time. But yeah, I think Anthony Edwards, great year. I'm glad he took a jump. I think he's due for another jump in a season or 2, maybe even next season, who knows. But I think the Timberwolves definitely need some more wings. They need some more shot creators around him to maximize his play style, and the sky is really the limit for Ant Edwards, to be honest. That was a great season, great showing in the playoffs. My number 2 shooting guard. At number 1, I have who I feel is one of the most underrated 2 guards in the NBA, one of the most underrated players in the NBA, period. And a lot of people would not have expected me to have him at number 1 on my shooting guards list. And that man is Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell averaging 26 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and 5.4 assists. He was awesome this year. Awesome. On a team that's clearly not built around him, on a team that was hurt for a lot of the year, Donovan Mitchell really spearheaded them to the playoffs. There was a lot of times where his co-star was out and the team looked better. Even in the playoffs, he just took over. And I've seen Donovan Mitchell take over and up his play in the playoffs time after time after time. He averaged 29.7 points in the playoffs this year, and he does this almost every season. He comes in, whatever he does in the regular season gets amplified in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell is just consistently a playoff riser. He did it again this year. He looked great in the Magic series. He looked great against the Celtics, but the Celtics they just had too much firepower. I predicted him to get them 1 or 2 games. He got them 1 game, and there's only so much you can do. I feel like that roster does need to shake it up a bit as well to maximize Donovan Mitchell. I don't think the skill difference between Mitch and Booker is that far. I think they're all just stacked slightly on top of each other, and I wouldn't be mad if anybody had this top 3 in any other order. I think they're all kind of on the same tier of player. But in my opinion, I just feel like Donovan Mitchell had the best season out of the 3 of them, all things considered. And yeah, I'm very comfortable putting D Mitch number 1. Like I said, If you put Ant 1, not mad. If you put D Book 1, not mad. But this is how I feel like the season really went. Donovan Mitchell clearly proved he's a number one option again, and I feel like having a team that's better predicated around him will definitely help the Cavs build some of that notoriety and possibly make a larger run in the playoffs. But as is, they're probably gonna still be that first, second round out team, which is unfortunate because, like I said, I think Donovan Mitchell really is doing all he can for this team, and the guys just need to step up. We need more from Darius Garland. We need more from Evan Mobley. Yeah, that's just how I feel about it. Donovan Mitchell, my number one shooting guard in the NBA. I know you disagree, and you can put who you think is in the comment section down below, but I'll catch y'all in the next one.